Today we'll be talking about using quotation marks when writing dialogue. A dialogue is a conversation between two people. So let's take a look here. When characters speak in your writing, we call that dialogue. So open up mostly any fictional story that you have at home and you will see dialogue inside that story. You'll see the characters talking back and forth. I want you to look over something at home and see if you can notice where the punctuation is, how the paragraphs are indented. Look at some of those things for examples. Okay? Writers use the quotation marks on either side of the exact words that are said by the character. So here's an example. Felix said. We do not put quotations around that because that is who is speaking. We call that the speaker tag. We do need a comma and then quotations. This is what Felix is saying. What are we doing today? We are learning about quotation marks. So you only put the quotation marks around the words that the person is saying. The punctuation goes inside the quotation marks. Where does the punctuation go? That's right, inside the quotation marks. So there's a few different ways that you can write dialogue. You can have the speaker at the beginning of a sentence. Grandma said, comma, quote, read with your little brother, period, quote. Remember the punctuation goes inside the quotation marks. You could also have the speaker tag at the end of a sentence. Gary is a funny dog, comma, quotes, said Joel, period. These are the two most common types of dialogue that we're going to talk about. You can put it in the middle of a sentence. We're not going to go into detail with that right now. We're going to focus on the beginning and the end of a sentence this week. Okay, so let's look at another example. Kim asked, comma, quotations, are you ready yet? Question mark, quotation. Let's look at another one. Joe cried, comma, quotes, it's time to go to the birthday party, exclamation point, quotes. So the punctuation goes inside the quotation marks. Here we have the speaker tag at the end of a sentence. Do I have to clean my room? Question mark, quotes, questioned Chris. So this is a little bit different. This sentence ends with a question mark. So we don't have a comma like we do in the others. Here we have a comma. Okay, we do not use a comma here because it ends with a question mark. If it ends with a question mark or an exclamation point, you use that instead of the comma. It's a little tricky. It'll probably make more sense when we do some examples. So the rules for dialogue. Capitalize the first letter of the dialogue if it begins a sentence. Okay, so back here where we were talking about middle of sentence, then you wouldn't capitalize the letter, but again, we're not going to focus on that type this week. Use commas to separate the dialogue from the speaker, except when using an exclamation point or a question mark. Commas and periods go inside the quotation marks. For each new speaker, start a new indented paragraph. So you'll indent each time. Let's look at some examples. Here it tells you to drag and drop these punctuation marks to edit these dialogue sentences with speaker tags at the end. So you notice the speaker tags are all at the end. What was that? Asked Amaya. So we need to drag the quotation marks around what she's saying. The speaker tag is separate. This is a question, so we need the question mark and it goes inside the quotes. Where does the punctuation go? And then we end our sentence. We still need to end our sentence with a period. I have to wait and make sure I've got a plus sign. There we go. No. There we go. And we have our period. Okay? You can continue to do these practice problems on your own. Here we have some where the quotation marks or where the speaker tag is at the beginning of the sentence instead of the end of the sentence. Okay, so I'd like you to do those practice. Another one says to drag and drop a circle around each speaker tag. You may need to resize the circle. So again, you can just do that like that. Okay, dragging by the corners. And again, drag and drop a circle to mark the sentence with the correct punctuation. So you're finding which one is correctly punctuated. Remember, quotes go around what the person is saying. Punctuation goes inside the quotation marks. And if it is a question mark or an exclamation point, you need to also put that inside the quotation marks. Okay? If you have any questions, please let me know.